Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Flame Emperor stood in the main palace with his eyes closed. He spared a portion of his mind to sense the space ripple around Luo Feng's spaceship. Any ripple would alert him. Flame Emperor thinks too highly of that human, Ba Feng Knight thought. He's a pinnacle universe master, and he doesn't need to mind that human. However, Ba Feng Knight still stood behind Flame Emperor quietly and respectfully. Flame Emperor suddenly opened his eyes. Suddenly, the biological spaceship stopped, and the golden armored figure flew out, soaked in blurry green light. God Country Transportation. Flame Emperor was startled. Did my third brother give up and prepare to leave? God Country Transportation was allowed in space-sealed areas. In the Sacrificial Tower, teleportation was not allowed, but God Country Transportation was. After all, the way they worked was different. This Blade River Emperor is scared, Ba Feng Knight said. He expected many great beings of other races to arrive, so he planned to run back to the human territory with God Country Transportation. Better for him to escape with his life. Flame Emperor whispered, grinning, lucky him. It's because of your mercy, Ba Feng Knight said. If you attacked him and control space and time, he wouldn't even have the chance to run away. Flame Emperor looked at the scene, smiling without saying anything. Suddenly, Luo Feng waved his hands, and an ugly undying fighter appeared. He first groveled at Luo Feng, then stepped into the blurry green light. As for Luo Feng, instead of leaving, he went back to the biological spaceship and kept progressing forward. Huh? He didn't go back. Flame Emperor frowned. Why did he send a slave? Ba Feng Knight was confused as well. The first great being of another race has arrived. Flame Emperor said with a smile. In another portion of space, he saw an enormous snake with a silver belly, a dark cyan back, and 2 wings on his back. There were 9 horns on his forehead, all of which had branches that were bent. His horns wound around each other like a crown. A greenish light, mixed with dimming golden light in his eyes, gleamed coldly. He seemed to notice the gaze of Flame Emperor, so he lowered his head to show respect for Flame Emperor. Demon Wing leader of the demon race, Ba Feng Knight said. He's an ambitious and powerful universe overlord, Flame Emperor said. Suddenly, he looked in another direction and noticed an elder of the frog race with a black scepter. The elder also sensed the gaze, and he bowed slightly to show respect. Frog the Wise, Flame Emperor whispered. Both of them are exceptional. And the third one is coming. Flame Emperor looked in another direction and saw a human-like being flying toward him. There were 2 horns thicker than thighs on his head, and the horns wound around his godly body like braids. His blue eyes were like stars that could pierce through souls. This great being also bowed to him. Martial Knight, Flame Emperor muttered. He has a domain-type true treasure. Against this treasure, it is the least likely that Luo Feng will escape. Ba Feng Knight said, Demon Wing leader, Frog the Wise, and Martial Knight are all universe-renowned supreme beings with extraordinary skills. Demon Wing leader comes from the pinnacle race demon race. Frog the Wise is the leader of an entire race. And as for Martial Knight, he has a domain-type true treasure. It'll be difficult for Blade River Emperor to flee from any of them. Flame Emperor smiled. Third brother, prepare for the feast I designed for you, he said. Suddenly, the godly power coming out of the main palace was weakened, and the range under the space seal was reduced to 100 light-years. In the sector of the Flame God secret region, Demon Wing leader's body slid across a floating star fragment, and he gazed into the distance. Blade River Emperor is supposed to be there, Demon Wing leader said in a hoarse voice. Blade River. All of your true treasures belong to me. He teleported there. For my frog race. I have to get the true treasures from Blade River Emperor, the elder of frog race whispered and teleported himself toward the publicized location. I have a domain-type true treasure, said Martial Knight, and if I have a soul-type true treasure and a flying palace-type true treasure. Even universe masters will find it difficult to kill me. Ma Shao Knight caressed his horns and went away. The news Flame Emperor let out was made known to the entire universe. Because it was so well known, ordinary universe Knight didn't dare meddle. The first 3 who arrived were all universe overlords. The biological spaceship slowed down and stopped. The space seal is gone. Luo Feng stood in the space and saw the mist permeating. Why did my second brother stop the space seal? Luo Feng closed his eyes and started to feel his surroundings. His Mosha body could sense the space as well as universe Knights. He inspected along the direction toward the lands of the Flame God race, and could distinctively feel that the space ripple 100 light-years around him was stopped. Not stopped, he realized, but shrank. No matter what you've done, you've saved me 100 years. Luo Feng waved his hands and took back the biological spaceship. He teleported himself. A giant snake shadow appeared. Teleportation ripple. Demon Wing Leader's greenish eyes glinted with a thrill. He, Frog the Wise, and Ma Shao Knight showed up in different places, and couldn't sense the others' teleportation. Besides, Demon Wing Leader was the closest to Luo Feng. To Universe Knights, they were only able to sense the teleportation ripple that was 1,000 light-years close to him. It must be him. Demon Wing Leader shook his wings and tail and teleported himself toward Luo Feng. Luo Feng arrived at the periphery of the space-sealed area. My second brother narrowed the range. Luo Feng stood in the space pervaded by mist and looked back. Have those other races arrived? Whatever. Luo Feng flew into the space-sealed area like a beam of light. Just as Luo Feng was flying into the space-sealed area, Demon Wing Leader showed up and saw the shadow in the distance. Human Blade River. Demon Wing Leader transmitted his hoarse voice with his godly power. Demon Wing Leader flew forward. Luo Feng kept flying in the secret region in near light speed and looked back at Demon Wing Leader, who was chasing him. You won't catch me, Luo Feng said with a glance. Human Blade River, you can't run away. Demon Wing Leader roared as he chased him. Instead of worrying about him, Luo Feng kept flying at near light speed. He had already hit his fastest speed. If he reached light speed, he would enter the Dark Universe. The coordinates in the Dark Universe around the lands of the Flame God race were concealed, and it would be squandering his time if he entered the Dark Universe. Law Domain. Demon Wing Leader suddenly performed Law Domain, and everything for 60 million miles around him was trapped in Time Law Domain, including Luo Feng. Luo Feng burned his godly power and maintained his speed. A simple Law Domain is useless, Luo Feng told Demon Wing Leader behind him. Suddenly, 2 powerful ripples appeared, which shocked and terrified Luo Feng. No. He realized. Other hunters. Demon Wing Leader sensed something wrong and looked back as well. Frog the Wise and Ma Shao Knight were flying toward them. They teleported themselves and arrived at the periphery of the space-sealed area, and they both went into the area and started to chase Luo Feng. 3 universe overlords were running after Luo Feng. However, none of them could teleport themselves in the space-sealed area. Ha ha. Frog and Demon Wing. This is the space-sealed area. Ma Shao Knight guffawed. Your Law Domain is only able to affect Blade River Emperor. It's not enough to trap him and kill him. It seems that I'm the lucky one after all, and the soul-type true treasure belongs to me. 90 million Sand River Domain, build. Ma Shao Knight's voice resounded around Demon Wing Leader and Frog the Wise. In the enormous, spherical area were countless grains of sand, and it was indestructible. Though each grain of sand was weak, when they were combined, they could easily annihilate some universe knights. Damn it. Demon Wing Leader growled. He was furious. Ma Shao, the true treasures belong to me too. Ma Shao Knight, don't be so selfish. Frog the Wise said, glaring at Ma Shao Knight behind him. But Ma Shao Knight was infuriated. They are mine, he shouted. They belong to me. Damn frog. You dared attack me. It's useless. Your soul attack techniques can hardly affect me. I'll stop wasting my time on you too. Human Blade River, die. Your treasures are mine. Under Martial Knight's manipulation, each grain of the sand was glowing and dashing at Luo Feng, and their power kept multiplying as they gathered. They formed a giant sand whirlpool and raced toward Luo Feng. Flame Emperor watched it all from his main palace. Third brother, he said, don't blame me for losing your true treasures. You're the one who wants the force armor. Flame Emperor watched what was happening hundreds of light years away, thinking that everything was under his control. Meanwhile, Luo Feng looked at the giant sand whirlpool that surrounded him. It was hundreds of miles high, and the sand was thick and dense. Each individual grain was weak, but when numerous grains were combined, they were strong enough to make Luo Feng feel strangled. Mosha body, said Luo Feng, holding onto a stone in his left hand. The stone vanished in an instant. The giant sand whirlpool enshrouded Luo Feng. In an instant, he was smashed to pieces. The very next instant, he was strangled to death, reduced to naught. Human Blade River is dead. Dead. His true treasure is mine. Martial Knight exclaimed from afar. Martial Knight was overwhelmed with excitement, anticipating what he would have when he got hold of the true treasures. It had not occurred to him that the true treasures would not be so easily obtainable. There were at least 6 true treasures. Did he really think that obtaining them would be such a breeze? Ah! Martial Knight let out a high-pitched, ferocious roar. Where is my true treasure? The true treasures. Where are they? No matter how he scoured the sand, there was not a single true treasure to be found. In the distance, the figure of a youth in golden armor appeared. Demon Wing Leader and Frog the Wise both looked over. Luo Feng. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng. There he is. One moment, he was surrounded and attacked by countless grains of sand. The next moment, he is tens of thousands of miles away. Could it be teleportation? But within the confinement of sealed space, it is impossible to teleport. Martial Knight stared at the faraway Luo Feng in disbelief. Luo Feng had not died. Human Blade River, he growled. Die. Countless grains of sand from all around flew toward Luo Feng in a wicked flurry. Luo Feng vanished into thin air. Instantly, he reappeared tens of thousands of miles away. Luo Feng flashed about at a crazy speed. In the blink of an eye, he was already thousands of miles away. This is not teleportation, it is his talent technique, Frog the Wise said with a slight frown. It is a space-type talent technique, domain. We are in trouble. Demon Wing Leader curled his body and spread his wings, then turned back to look at the fuming Martial Knight. He sneered. Old Frog, out of the 3 of us, Martial Knight must be the most disappointed. Even with a domain-type true treasure, Luo Feng was still able to escape. With his talent technique, Luo Feng will be able to escape from anyone below the rank of a Universe Master. Only a handful of Universe Overlords may be able to hold him back. Frog the Wise nodded. Domain was a technique by which one first merged with space, then transformed into a godly body. No matter how Martial Knight manipulated his true treasure to launch attacks, the moment Luo Feng merged with space, it would be easy to dodge the attacks. Of course, the situation would be different if the opponent was a Universe Master. A Universe Master was able to fully control space and time. Everything in this space and time would be controlled. Even when merged with this space, anyone could be forcefully kicked out. However, Martial Knight, Frog the Wise, and Demon Wing Leader could not achieve this. Damn it, roared Martial Knight. Watching Luo Feng make his escape with just one technique domain, yet being unable to do anything about it, was enough to make Martial Knight feel helpless. He could only roar with fury. Frog the Wise and Demon Wing Leader watched the entire episode with amusement. Martial Knight wheeled on them angrily. Neither of you got anything either. Martial Knight fumed. What is there to gloat over? Martial Knight, you are a Universe Overlord, and look at what a scene you have made, Frog the Wise said, grinning. Demon Wing Leader and I are not gloating. The 3 of us went after Blade River Emperor Luo Feng together, and both of us truly believed that you would be most hopeful in succeeding. We did not hold high hopes, and without expectations, we naturally would not feel disappointed. But you are different. You were so close to obtaining the true treasures, yet you did not expect Luo Feng to still have a hidden card up his sleeve. That is why a true treasure has again slipped through your fingers. This agony. Ha ha. We can empathize. Ha ha ha. Demon Wing Leader let out a deep laugh. Go, he called out. Old Frog. Frog the Wise nodded with a smile, then together with Demon Wing Leader, accelerated quickly and reached the speed of light within an instant. Both entered the dark universe and left. Damn it. Bastard. Idiot. Ah? Martial Knight shouted, his handsome features twisted with anger. Although Martial Knight was a high and mighty universe overlord, it did not mean he could not get angry. There were not many things that anger make beings at his level. This time, he was within reach of obtaining at least 6 true treasures like the Soul-type true treasure, and Flying Palace true treasure, and for everything to come to naught all of a sudden, the contrast was too agonizing and infuriating for Martial Knight to bear. Blade River. Martial Knight gritted his teeth, and let out an angry roar. Then he too entered the dark universe and left. Yangshan race had 3 palaces surrounded by land. In the main palace, Ba Feng Knight was careful not to utter a single word. At that moment, he knew Flame Emperor was seething with anger. Flame Emperor stared into space with a cold look. Ripples of images appeared to show Luo Feng's advances, as he relied on his talent technique domain. Very well, my dear third brother. I have underestimated you, Flame Emperor thought, looking at the image with indifference. Flame Emperor, what should we do now? Ba Feng Knight finally spoke up, after he sensed that Flame Emperor's anger had subsided. Do you have any way to kill him? Flame Emperor asked, looking at Ba Feng Knight. If he is bent on escaping, there is no way I can stop him, Ba Feng Knight said, shaking his head. This talent technique domain can only be owned by some unique life forms that have excellent hiding and fleeing skills. It is said that within the Mosha race, only a handful have such power. Although these life forms do not have outstanding fighting abilities, their survival abilities are quite strong. Wait, Flame Emperor said. He looked into space. Right now, there is a continuous stream of great beings of other races making their way here. There are universe overlords, senior universe knights, and more. Who knows? There might be someone able to stop this human Blade River Emperor. Ba Feng Knight listened obediently, but in his heart, he was confused. Is there a need for Flame Emperor to be so determined to kill this Blade River Emperor Luo Feng? If he really wanted to kill Luo Feng, he could have done the deed by himself. If he did so, he could have annihilated Blade River Emperor Luo Feng with a snap of fingers. Yet up until now, he made no move and merely paid close attention. So strange. In the Yangshan secret region, Luo Feng gave full play to his talent technique domain for quite some time, then he boarded his planet ship and continued to advance. Second brother, the moment you sealed the space and hid the dark universe coordinates, your younger brother guessed your intentions. Luo Feng held his wine glass. So earlier on, I arranged for a servant to take my many true treasures back to the human domain under the guise of my golden horned beast body. Original earthling body, Mosha body, and remote ocean body. From true treasure to valuable, these 3 bodies do not possess a single piece. Even if they were to fail, at the very most, I would only be wasting a little energy. Luo Feng sneered. He was no fool. Knowing that Flame Emperor would not give up the force armor easily, there was no way he would subject any of his true treasures like Tower Pearl and Shawu Wings to such risk. Upon learning that his golden horned beast body had brought his true treasures back to the human domain, he was able to face up to all obstacles without worries. During the earlier attack, by Martial Knight's domain-type true treasure, his original earthling body was annihilated, but the Mosha body was able to escape with the world ring. The remote ocean body was hidden within the world ring, and with the godly power of the remote ocean body, the annihilated original earthling body was recovered to its original form. This time, I have revealed my greatest trump card for escape, talent technique domain. Luo Feng squinted. My teacher, Primal Chaos City leader, once said that this technique domain is only second to the skills of universe masters. Otherwise, the chance of escaping is almost 100%. Now that I have revealed this technique, I must obtain force armor. Force armor, you will be mine. Luo Feng looked out into space and surmised that Flame Emperor would be observing his every move. What is mine will be mine, he said. No matter how hard you try, you cannot keep it. Luo Feng gave a crooked smile. Following the arrival of the earliest batch of universe overlords, the trio consisting of Demon Wing Leader, superpowers of all kinds like universe overlords and senior universe knights came flocking from faraway domains in a flurry. With techniques like God Country transportation and teleportation, they rushed to the territory of the Yangshan race as fast as they could. The number was increasing tremendously. Luo Feng had ventured deep within the domain of sealed space, so the other great beings were unable to keep up with him. So Flame Emperor shrank the domain of sealed space by another 100 light years. This way, the others in pursuit would be able to catch up with Luo Feng easily. Second brother, how shameless you can be, Luo Feng thought with a sneer. This time, Luo Feng showed no trace of hesitation. First, he teleported directly to the border of the domain of sealed space. Then, with his talent technique domain, he penetrated his way into the sealed space by speedy and continuous flashes. The moment the fastest great being of another race caught up, Luo Feng would have put a couple 100 miles between them. The talent technique domain was enough to convince several great beings in pursuit to give up, and when Luo Feng had penetrated into the deeper region of the sealed space, other great beings who arrived later would not even have the chance to fight him. A bunch of trash. Flame Emperor madly surveyed the images before him. At that moment, his rage was unleashed without restraint. The entire palace seemed to have fallen into a burning furnace. Luo Feng Knight stood by his side, filled with fear. He did not understand why Flame Emperor was fuming over the fact that Luo Feng was not killed. Flame Emperor swept a look in his direction. Take your leave. Yes, Luo Feng Knight said respectfully. Then, stepping into the blurry red light, he left. Trash, trash, a bunch of trash. Flame Emperor seethed. He had not felt such anger in a long time. Ambushing Luo Feng had failed, which meant Luo Feng would be taking force armor away. This made him furious. Third brother, take your time, Flame Emperor said coldly. You still need over 100 years of flying to get here. He had shrunk the domain of sealed space twice. With the status of a high and mighty universe master, and with the matter implicating sitting mountain guest and force armor, he could not help losing his cool. Shrinking the sealed space twice in a row was, after all, a despicable thing to do. The original star is about to open, Flame Emperor thought. I shall enter the original star for a round of battle. Maybe I will be able to find a true treasure that is comparable to the force armor. However, he knew that the chances were extremely low. Flame Emperor had experienced many openings of the original star, and had obtained quite a handful of true treasures. However, most of them were ordinary ones. Even the senior true treasures were few and far between, and there were no top-tier true treasures to speak of. Of course, through his ventures in other domains, killings, and fighting, he had paid dearly to be able to obtain a single top-tier true treasure, his black armor, as a backup plan. But black armor, when compared to force armor, the two were on completely different levels. Flame Emperor sat on his throne and looked into the vast space. Then he closed his eyes and silently waited for the original star to open. When it came to Luo Feng, he was at his wits' end. After all, sitting mountain guest was a deterrent preventing him from going overboard. Many supreme beings rushed to hunt Luo Feng. However, those who tried to hunt him all failed after Luo Feng performed his talent technique domain. As for those who arrived late, they couldn't even begin to chase him after him, because he was already deep in the space-sealed area. They all gave up. Yet, at the same time, Luo Feng's secret technique domain went public. The great beings who chased Luo Feng all knew about it and spread the news. Many great beings of other races were stunned by the news that Blade River Emperor had such an exceptional skill. Pei Feng Knight was furious after learning about domain. He dared to look down on me. He didn't even perform that technique when I attacked him. He didn't even fight with all his strength. Well played, Blade River. Why did he dodge it again? Why is it so difficult for him to die? Bark Mirror Emperor was exasperated after realizing this. He roared so hard that the walls of his room cracked. While the other races were shocked, the human race was thrilled. The talent technique domain was bestowed by the universe, and couldn't be gained by practice alone. Blade River Emperor will be able to survive for a long time with this technique. As long as he doesn't meet any universe masters, he'll be able to survive. Talent technique domain is indeed incredible, and many universe knights aren't able to deal with it. However, some still have extraordinary skills. For instance, the most powerful world tree is already able to control space and time, as well as a universe master. There are other special life forms who can suppress the talent technique domain. Through the virtual universe, Luo Feng learned about the discussions outside, which made him further realize that the only way to win respect from other great beings was power. Many universe knights concluded that Luo Feng going to the original star meant he was rushing to his own death. After they witnessed him performing his talent technique domain, however, the number of naysayers declined in number. Domain is only used for escape, thought Luo Feng. In the original star, one must fight for true treasures. Fleeing is not enough. Force armor. I must have it. Compared to force armor, the talent technique domain was nothing. Force armor was an item desired by supreme beings like Flame Emperor. Even Primal Chaos City leader was willing to fight to the death for a true treasure like that. 10 years passed. At the top of Thunder Island stood Primal Chaos City leader Luo Feng. The original star will be opened tomorrow. I heard that you're going, too. Yes, teacher, Luo Feng said, standing behind Primal Chaos City leader. What's your plan? Primal Chaos City leader asked. Who do you want to team up with? Did you invite some great beings? No, Luo Feng replied. If you want to team up with someone, I can help, Primal Chaos City leader said. You're still relatively weak. Senior universe knights often find some great beings to help them and give them a higher chance of survival. You should also find some suitable great beings to help you. Team up with whom? Luo Feng shook his head. Senior universe knights can't help me much. As for universe overlords, even if they say yes, it'll be because of you, and from the bottom of their hearts, they'll believe that I'm dragging them back. I'd better go there by myself. You're thinking of doing this, by yourself? Primal Chaos City leader was startled. I just want to go there to broaden my horizons, said Luo Feng. I'll be careful. That's right, you have your bloody see. Primal Chaos City leader nodded. It's all in your hands. But, Luo Feng, why would you go to the lands of the Flame God race and perform your talent technique domain? A revealed trump card is no longer a trump card. If the enemies wish to attack you, they'll prepare for this technique. You need to make sure that it's the only option before you show your trump card. I understand, Luo Feng said. I decided to go there because of something private. Something private? Primal Chaos City leader glanced at Luo Feng. Then I won't ask any further questions. However, I must remind you that the lands of the Flame God race belong to Flame Emperor, who is one of the top-tier universe masters. He was as talented and exceptional as you. If you've done some research, you'll know that Flame Emperor is a human. He was beyond exceptional. He never failed, and nobody at his level could rival him. He never failed. And he respected nobody. He's a fearless great being. However, he also believed that nobody could suppress him, and he got too ambitious. He couldn't live with being under others. Primal Chaos City leader shook his head. Luo Feng listened quietly. Too ambitious and couldn't live with being under others. To top it all off, something's wrong with his mental state, said Primal Chaos City leader. He only remembers how others have wronged him. He cannot remember the good that others do for him. Primal Chaos City leader shook his head. After becoming a universe knight, he grew ever more arrogant and tyrannical. And he was extremely selfish. Extremely selfish, said Luo Feng. He dared to attack universe masters within his own race. Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. He attacked them for their valuables. Gigantic Axe founder decided to punish him by imprisoning him, but little did he expect that Flame Emperor had betrayed us humans with beings from his hometown. It was a great joke to the rest of the universe. Luo Feng was startled. He's indeed a genius. Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. And every time I see you, it's like seeing him. We human cultivated him, but he turned his back on us. Every time there was a war between the races, he grew crueler toward us humans. Chaos City leader shook his head. Luo Feng, if he attacks you, just summon me, and I'll be there instantly. Okay. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng was stunned to realize what his second brother was really like. Selfish, thought Luo Feng, recalling everything he had been through. Yeah. He's selfish, all right. Force armor was left by Masters Washan Ku to me, but he tried to keep it. On the second day, the original star opened. It was a massive party for the billions of races in the universe. Of course, the Undying Fighters didn't know of it, as it was a killing festival for the supreme beings. Though Luo Feng was in the territory of the Flame God race, and couldn't see the opening of the portal to the original star, he could still watch the scene through the virtual universe. The power from the opening of each portal was more terrific than that of universe masters. Various groups flooded into the original star. 10,081 portals were distributed throughout the universe. Supreme beings from all the superpowers, made up of billions of races in the universe, flew into the portal and entered the original star. 10,081 original stars. The slaughter was about to begin. The universe takes care of me, said Flame Emperor. Force armor is about to be taken by my third brother, and I have to hand it over because of Masters Washan Ku. Perhaps I can get better true treasures. Flame Emperor walked into a portal to original stars and landed on one. The biological spaceship traveled through the mist. Luo Feng had a simple life, spending most of his time on space lore and the beast god path. Luo Feng had already fully comprehended the second mystery of space lore, seal, during the 80,000 years of creating ultimate techniques. As for the third one, strangle, he was close. One could become a universe knight after completing the comprehension of all three mysteries and combining them as one. Apparently, Luo Feng needed a long time. It's cruel in the original stars. Although Luo Feng didn't go, he watched some footage taken by some great beings who made it out. Original stars were closest to the land of origin in the universe. They were stars full of valuables. And they were filled with hazards. It was the first place Luo Feng knew of that couldn't connect to the virtual universe. My decision was a wise one, he said. Without the force armor, I can only flee with my power. To Luo Feng, he went through a peaceful 100 years, yet on the original stars, 12 large-scale battles took place, because of the valuables. Hundreds of universe knights and more than 20 universe overlords died during those wars, but all the universe masters survived. Of course, all the superpowers were excited by the slaughtering. The more precious the valuables were, the more great beings they were willing to send out. The footage isn't even clear. Luo Feng shook his head. The level of the slaughter there is apocalyptic, and there's no way to record the battles clearly. Shame. None of the battles have anything to do with me. Luo Feng stood in the control room and watched the three lands in the distance through the virtual scene. They were the inhabitants of the Flame God race. Although he finally saw the lands, he was still so distant from them. It took him another month to get to the border. A silver-armored undying warrior flew towards him. His eyes glinted furiously. This is the territory of the Flame God race. How dare you come here, human? Luo Feng frowned. Godly force permeated from him, suppressing the undying fighter of Flame God race. Flame Emperor. I've arrived at your territory. Luo Feng shouted, looking at the main palace surrounded by the three lands. Show yourself. This video will end here.